that there should be a group amongst you who call people towards goodness. And they enjoin the good and they forbid the evil. So that there has to be a group of people. It's not a one-man show. One man can't do all of that work because you need organization and you need support. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. هُوَ الَّذِي أَيَّدَكَ بِنَصْرِهِ وَبِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah is the one who helped you with His help, but also, just as importantly, with the help of the Sahaba. وَبِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah's help comes to the Nabi, but then the Nabi is further supported by the group around him. وَبِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ. To show the need for organization. So the idea of fighting justice and making sure Muslims' rights are protected and all of that, that's good, but it has to be ijtimai. It has to be at a group level. There has to be organizations who take on this responsibility and this responsibility, and it has to be organized and segmented, where everybody in the world don't jump onto the same bandwagon. So there has to be a group designated for that. We're getting there slowly. We do have groups doing this and that. Allah give them tawfiq and support, inshallah. But what I'm saying is that Islam remains an individual obligation for every Muslim, regardless of the political climate. Regardless of what's happening in Gaza, every Muslim has to remain Muslim. And every Muslim still has to do what he needs to do to procure najat and salvation. That's the individual fard. That's what we call fard ayn. Fard on the individual. We can't escape that because we're concerned about the oppression in Gaza or Kashmir or Rohingya or whatever. We should definitely try and do everything we can at a group level, societal level, to combat that. But what I'm saying is that at the individual level, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informed the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that inna laka fin nahari sabhan tawila. That you'll have a very long rotation in the day. Fin nahar. In the day you're going to go out and you're going to preach, you're going to tell people Islam. Sabhan tawila. A very long swim, the word sabhan. Maybe you'll be engaged with people. But as you engage with people, you cannot forget your individual ibadah with Allah. So then the next ayah is وَاذْكُرِ اسْمَ رَبِّكَ وَتَبَتَّلْ إِلَيْهِ تَبْتِيلًا. The very next ayah, you'll be occupied with people in the day, giving da'wah. But what you do then? Then you go into the night, and then you mention the name of your Lord, and you totally focus on Him. وَتَبَتَّلْ إِلَيْهِ تَبْتِيلًا. Disconnect yourself from the world and focus on Allah so that you can gain and acquire the nur from Allah, where your battery is charged so that you can use that energy in the day. This is the dual mission. And this is not something that you can compromise with. You can't separate the two. So as you're talking about justice, injustice, human rights, this, you have to talk about your ibadah also. It is necessary for the Prophet ﷺ, it was fard for him to wake up for tahajjud. He didn't have a choice. Allah made it fard. And then the Sahaba, they followed. The Sahaba, as they are engaged with da'wah, alhamdulillah, all the time. How do you think Islam spread if they didn't do the da'wah? Islam only spread because the Sahaba went out and engaged with the world and they brought people into Islam, and they made the effort. They were in jihad. But then when you look at the description of the Sahaba, how does Allah describe the Sahaba? He doesn't say that they were freedom fighters. He doesn't say that. Or they were out for justice. Or they changed the economic system of the world. Very critical that we have our world view correct when it comes to participation and devotion to Islam. How do you define Islam? Is Islam defined simply by human rights? Or is there something else which is very special and very individualistic and very sacred and very private? We'll get to that in a second. If you ask converts, why are you Muslim? They won't say, oh, Islam has the best economic system. Because it doesn't, or Muslims don't. They won't say that I'm mesmerized by the architecture of Islam. I love Islamic art. They won't say that. Oh, I believe that the Islamic political system is the best, ideal. They won't say that either. The response you'll get from every convert is, I am Muslim because I have found a way to salvation. I have found a way to Jannah. That's the answer you'll get. What does that mean? It means they're looking for something much deeper than addressing the social ills and vices of the world, for addressing the political ills and vices of the world. They're looking for something that speaks to their heart. So they will say, I found a way to salvation and to Jannah. Now define Islam. Or redefine Islam. You have to get the formula right first. That's necessary, as I said. We're not saying disengage, we're saying engage, but make sure that you are Muslim for the right reason. Now, God forbid, nothing's happening in the world. We're just as oppressed as we were 100 years ago. We're just as downtrodden. So do we now give up Islam because the political system is not correct? No, we're still Muslim. We're here for Jummah. We don't live in an ideal world. So despite not having an ideal world, ideal political system, ideal economic system, ideal cultural system, we're still Muslim. Why? Because we believe in our hearts that Islam is the way for najat, salvation, after we die. That's why we're Muslim. If we get peace and justice throughout the world, alhamdulillah, we'll be the first ones to embrace, and we should make all effort to do that. But Islam is not contingent on any political success. It is contingent on your aqeedah, on your belief. It's an individual, private choice that you make willingly, that I'm going to accept Islam regardless of any circumstances outside of me. No Muslim would ever say, I give up Islam now. No one does that. Why don't you do that? Because you love Islam for the reason that Islam gives you the key to najat and salvation. That's why you remain Muslim. Right? So we can't contextualize the meaning and the definition of Islam through politics. Politics change every day, 24/7. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the Sahaba, He's describing the Sahaba. So wouldn't you think that when you describe a whole group of people who follow the Prophet, who support the Prophet, who are loyal to the Prophet, that you might have some idea of the system that they establish in society? Oh, the Sahaba did this and this. Oh, they were standing against injustice. Allah doesn't say that. I'm not saying that. Read the Quran. The Quran says that تَرَاهُمْ رُكَّعًا سُجَّدًا يَبْتَغُونَ فَضْلًا مِنَ اللَّهِ وَرِضْوَانًا سِيمَاهُمْ فِي وُجُوهِهِمْ مِنْ أَثَرِ السُّجُودِ. That is their trademark. What is their trademark? You will see them in ruku and sujood. Allah doesn't say you'll find them fighting at Daily Plaza for justice. He says you'll see them in ruku and sujood, worshipping Allah, seeking the fadl of Allah, and the effects of their Islam you will find on their faces because of sajda. You'll see the marks of sajda on their foreheads. That's how Allah describes the Sahaba. Now this description is for all of mankind to say that those who are with the Rasul, Muhammad Rasulullah, Muhammad is Allah's Rasul, and then وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ, those who are with him, what are the characteristics of those who are with Muhammad? These are the characteristics, that they are engaged in individual ibadah. That, my dear brothers and sisters, is the key to our success. That we have to individualize Islam, make it an individual private affair with us and Allah, establish our connection with Allah through nafil, through ibadat, through dua, through dhikr, through reciting the Quran, and at the same time work towards justice when we can and where we can. But you cannot be exonerated because you're working for justice that you don't do your ibadat. That doesn't work. That formula has never worked. Everyone who's done public service as ulama, they have always maintained their dignity, their honor, their characteristics of nafil ibadat. You'll see them in dhikr, you'll see them in dua, they'll wake up for tahajjud, they'll ask Allah. They will not give up their individual private Islam. If we can promote and propagate and disseminate this understanding, inshallah there's a lot of hope, because we are connected to Allah. Allah is the one who creates change. People don't create change. 2 million, 5 million people demonstrate in the world against Israel and nothing happens. Nothing has happened. Nothing has changed. But if these 2 million, 5 million people connect themselves to Allah, make dua, something will happen. Because Allah, through our tawheed, you always talk about aqidah, tawheed, everybody's bashing everybody because they don't have tawheed. This is tawheed. You cannot rely on human beings to help you influence change. It is Allah who does that. Only Allah. So we should be connected to Allah, not to the various agencies in the world. You're knocking on the door of the White House for 40 years. They haven't opened the door for you. Why would they? Their system is different from yours. The only door you should be knocking on is the door of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once you remember this message, you will then connect yourself and you'll be at peace. You'll be calm. So, okay, I've done my duty. I've done as much as I can. Now Allah is in charge of the rest. So you do your duty in public service and you engage with the narrative of justice and fighting injustice. But you do not give up your relationship with Allah, because that is not Islam. In fact, you have to cultivate your relationship. You have to improve it. You have to make it better. And that is the message of the sacrifice, the qurbani. That we're going now from Ramadan fasting towards qurbani. This is the message that you want to give to yourselves, to your children, to your community, and the whole world. That Muslims remain Muslim, even though nothing changes in the world. Unfortunately, it's gone worse. Allah save us all and protect us all. Inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to establish our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to worship Allah the way the Sahaba did. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen.
Move forward, please, inshallah. Fill in the gaps. There's people waiting outside. There's so much space here. There's so much space here. Make your way forward, please.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله الله تعالى إلى كافة الناس بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا وداعيا إلى الله بإذنه وسراجا منيرا. أما بعد، فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. محمد رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم تراهم ركعا سجدا يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا سيماهم في وجوههم من أثر السجود ذلك مثلهم في التوراة ومثلهم في الإنجيل كزارع أخرج شطأه فآزره فاستغلظ فاستوى على سوقه يعجب الزراع ليغيظ بهم الكفار. وعد الله الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات منهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما. بارك الله لنا في القرآن العظيم ونفعنا بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. إنه تعالى جواد كريم ملك بر رؤوف رحيم، فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا كما أمر، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إرغاما لمن جحد به وكفر، وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله سيد الخلائق والبشر. أما بعد، فيا أيها الناس، إن الله أمركم بأمر بدأ فيه بنفسه وثنى بملائكة المسبحات لقدسه وثلث بكم أيها المؤمنون من بريئة جنه وإنسه، فقال تعالى في شأن حبيبه تشريفا وتعظيما: إن الله ملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. عباد الله رحمكم الله. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: أرحم أمتي بأمتي أبو بكر، وأشدهم في أمر الله عمر، وأصدقهم حياء عثمان، وأخضاهم علي، والحسن والحسين سيدا شباب أهل الجنة، وفاطمة سيدة نساء أهل الجنة. اللهم اغفر لسائر الصحابة والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان، ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا، ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. عباد الله رحمكم الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم، ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. أقيموا الصلاة رحمكم الله.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمد رسول الله، أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله.
استووا واستقيموا.